All right, now we're looking at LSMs. So to get started at the bottom, we have Chase Levisque. Definitely butchered that name. Doesn't matter. I don't really have too many stats on him. Nothing really stands out. Not sure if he's the solidified starter for the um, the Cannons yet. Therefore, he's at my bottom. Number 7, we have Rylan Reese. Rylan Reese, um, not bad, but stat wise, just isn't super crazy. Uh, Water Dogs, again, to me, they're a wishy washy team. I can't really put a lot of trust in them. There are a lot of other players on this list that are very fucking good and have ridiculous stats. So, nothing against how he plays, just LSM wise, not there. Number 6, this is a tough one. I put them at 6 because I know that they can both perform, but the problem is that they have a history of splitting time. Splitting time for me is always tough in a fantasy outlook just because of the fact that less time means less stats. Troy Ray and Matt Reese. Um, if one of them get the reins initially, fucking take them. They're either one would be good to have as I guess a backup, but if you're really not taking either of them initially right off the bat, like to be, I wouldn't take them to be a starter. At number 5, we have Eli Salama, Chrome guy, very good stats, consistently in the lineup over the last couple years. Next, we have Craig Chick, new guy on the Atlas, has had the stats in the previous years in different leagues and whatnot. Uh, Two thumbs up for him. I think he's going to have a great 2020. Next, we have John Sexton, again, a guy who will probably benefit now, especially off of having a new faceoff guy on the Redwoods, someone who can really get him the ball. That's the reason why another guy on this list is so high up. Um, so look for him to have at least an uptick in ground balls. His calls turnovers are good already because the Redwoods defense, that's their staple. Number 2, Scott Ratliff. That's an easy one. If we included goals in this, he might be number 1, but because it's just ground balls and calls turnovers, he's sitting at number 2. Great with the ground balls, would benefit off of a better face-off guy. Defensively sound, a super fun guy to watch. If it was based on who to watch, he might be top 5 in the league. And at number 1, Michael Earnhardt. Joe Nardello puts that value through the roof. He, I think, was third in the league in ground balls last year, and then he's also just an absolute fucking beast on defense. Look for him to have another fucking great season. If you're looking for an LSM, he is your guy to take. And now we move on to a bit of a lengthier topic, something that was a little bit more competitive. I think this one is the hardest one to read out of any of them. Midfielders, offensive midfielders, that is. To start at 15, we start with Jesse King. It's his second year in this offense. He's produced before, good goal scorer. The Chrome, I think, are only going to get better. They started off bad, became mediocre. I think they're going to do a little bit better this year. Overall, there are a lot of mouths to feed on that offense between him, Jared Wolf, Gutterding, so forth. So there's some mouths to feed on the attack side of the ball, but as a midfielder, I really do think that he's one of the guys to see, and we have a couple more of his teammates higher up on this list. 13, 14 for me can go either way. Personally, I have Ryan Ambler at 14. Powerhouse offense, easy to put them higher if you want to. It's just the fact that when I say as midfielders, it's tough because there are so many mouths to feed, and if you don't get 2 balls, it's tough for your fantasy value to be there. But with Ryan Ambler and then at 13 Christian Mazzone, the amount of offenses just generated in that team, in that system, is just fucking ridiculous. It's second to none. To me, it's the best offense in the league. They outplay with, to me, is the best player in lacrosse. Someone would disagree with that. He's number 1 on this list. We can all fucking guess who he is. So we have Ambler at 14, Mazzone at 13. I think either of them's a good pick. At number 12, we have Connor Buszczek. A very good 2019, a dip off in 2020, just like the entire Atlas team. 2021, you would have to expect the bounce back from him. He's a new team, a team that he's actually been on before, just in a different league, the Cannons. Still with Paul Rabel, so he has familiar faces. He has a system that he'll know he'll be able to work in, because I feel like with Paul Rabel, it's not really. He does go into a system, but you also have to know that Paul Rabel is a legendary, iconic guy. He's the dude who's going to come in. Even with one bad season, he's still a guy who you have to fucking worry for. Expect Connor Buszczek to be a threat this upcoming season. At 11, we have Connor Kelly. Could be higher on this list. Barry could be top 10 on this list. Back-to-back top 25 in points on different teams, starting with the Whipsnakes, going on to the Water Dogs. That's tough to do. Like I said, the Whipsnakes, needless to say, best team in lacrosse. No ifs, ands, or buts. The Water Dogs, to me, don't have all the pieces together, but Connor Kelly continues to stay a staple in that offense, no matter where he goes. 10, Dane Smith. We have a fire Canadian line. I mean, absolutely ridiculous. Once they were able to figure out where they wanted to put him, where they wanted to put all their midfielders in general, after dropping those first 4 games, he still played well. But those last 3 games that they had throughout the playoffs, of the initial win, getting the semis done, and then going on to the championship, end up losing that. Dane Smith, to me, was one of the guys who stood out on that chaos offense, and I was like, holy shit, like, this guy is the real fucking deal. Great goal scorer, great hair, Dane Smith. Number 9, moving on to John Haas. A good balance of goals and assists, a little bit more of a goal scorer than he is an assist guy. Mouths to feed on that offense, no doubt. So the fact that he has the playmaking ability, as well as the ability to put the ball in the back of the net, to me, is why he's a little bit higher on this list than some others. So with John Haas, it's that balance that really helps out his potential. Number 8, to me, could very well be lower on this list, could very well be off this list sometimes. Could very well be top 3 on this list at times, to be honest. Miles Jones, I have him at 8. Fairly inconsistent. He was finally figuring out, like, how to get the 2-ball, or not even him, but the Redwoods offense in general, how to get the 2-ball off. I don't think that he's the best midfielder on that team. So look for him to, I wouldn't say have a bounce back season, because last season wasn't that bad, but look for him to want to prove something once again. Number 7, to me, this is a tough one because of the different positions that he plays, but to me, it's a staple reason why he has to be in the position that he is. Jake Fricaro, the attack / midfielder, he gets fucking points. He was fucking top 10 last season at attack in points. 2 seasons ago. Last year moved to midfielder, top 20 in points. If that doesn't prove to you consistency, I don't know what will. It didn't matter where he was playing, what he was playing, who he was playing with, how the team was doing. Top 10, top 20 in points. Obviously, you're going to move down from that attack to midfield just because of playing time, opportunities, and stuff like that. But Jake Fricaro, to me, has to be at the spot that he's at. He's a fucking guy to take. Number 6, last year could have been Rookie of the Year if it wasn't for Grant Ament. Brian Costabile had a good 2020, especially for a team that did fucking horrible. Had a very good 2020. And I would say, only look for him to improve, only look for him to understand the 2-ball a little bit better. Coming from college, there's obviously not the 2-ball, so now getting that, I think that he's got a fucking cannon. He'll get harder matchups now that Paul Rabel's gone, but he'll also have more opportunities now that Paul Rabel's gone. So take that how you will. Personally, I think Brian Costabile, second overall in 2019, and last year's PLL college draft. So look for him to, honestly, I think that he steps up to the plate. Number 5, a name that I've mentioned a few times already, Paul Rabel. Even with the down 2020, it's still Paul Rabel. He's still the creator of this league. He's still a staple of lacrosse. He might be 1 year older, but he's in a new system. He's still a fucking legend. He's still got guys around him that he knows. He's in a fucking uniform that he's played in for a long time. Look for him to only bounce back. I couldn't imagine him having another bad season and going out like this. Number 4, Sergio Perkovic. Finally figured out the 2-ball last year. If you're looking at 2019 and 2020, you really can't put him at this spot. But the fact that he started to figure out the fact that the Redwoods, I keep saying that it's these guys. I don't think it's these guys. I think it was the team itself. That the Redwoods were able to figure out where to put him and Miles Jones on the field to score. That clutch gene began to click as he needed. Figured out the 2-ball. I think that he could very well be a top 5 individual just because of how good his 2-ball is, how big and massive he is. I think that he could really put up some points this year. Number 3, Ned Crotty. He missed some time in 2020. Expect him to bounce back every year. Top 10 player in points. I mean, he's one of those guys who are, I think, fly underneath the radar. But I think he's also a guy who you don't even have to say anything about. I would only expect him to get better. You know, he is the best midfielder on that team by far. That offense is very good. I wouldn't even worry about really taking him if these top 2 guys weren't picked. Number 2, he had a dip in 2020. I would say fairly significant. Still 3rd in points from midfielders. Mike Janchuk. How do you put up numbers like this? It's from the 2-ball. How does he shoot his 2-ball? It's not even that it's so, it's not a Sergio Perkovic 2-ball where he fucking rips the shit out of it. It's just that his delivery's so quick. The accuracy is fucking second to none. This guy plays in such a different manner than typical 2-ball guys. He's not an outrageously large individual. He's maybe 5'11". I would guess that he's probably about 220, 210, something like that, right around there. You know, still like a solid unit of a guy, but he's not those 6'4" dudes who are ripping fucking 2-balls. So the fact that he's still, powerhouse offense, still playmaking, still can pass the ball, fucking 2-ball king, tip in 2020, still 3rd in midfielders. It's hard for me to put him anywhere else but the number 2. Number 1, I don't really think I have to say anything. Tom Schreiber, last year's MVP, probably should have been the MVP the year before if it wasn't for Matt Rambo and the playoff performances that he had. Best offense in the league. Yeah, I guess you could worry about too many mouths to feed and him maybe just not getting the ball enough. Midfielder, the time on offense was maybe a little bit less, but there's no one on this list that compares to Tom Schreiber. It is what it is. It just is what it is. Next video will be attack and defense, and we'll probably throw in some short sticks at the same time. I'll probably start defense, short sticks. We'll go on to attack. I guess I'll see you then. Attack will take a while. Let me tell you, attack will take a while.